Christian Horner's 20-year reign at Red Bull Racing just came to a brutal end. And the 4 words that Max Verstappen's father said to Red Bull's CEO will make your blood run cold. But what I'm about to reveal about the secret meetings, the ultimatums, and the betrayal that destroyed one of F1's most successful partnerships will change everything you thought you knew about Red Bull. Because this isn't just about one man losing his job. This is about the complete collapse of a Formula One dynasty. Here's what nobody is talking about. The first crack in Horner's empire appeared at the 2025 British Grand Prix. While Max Verstappen was struggling to a 5th-place finish, falling 69 points behind Oscar Piastri, something far more sinister was happening in the Red Bull garage. Sources claims that Jos Verstappen cornered Oliver Mintzlaff, Red Bull's CEO, and delivered an ultimatum that would echo through the paddock for months. But that's nothing compared to what happened next. By the Austrian Grand Prix, the tension had reached breaking point. Verstappen was taken out at the start by Kimi Antonelli, completing what insiders describe as the most miserable weekend of his Red Bull career. But here's the shocking part. Max had only qualified 7th after late yellow flags, and according to sources within Red Bull, Christian Horner was seen arguing with the technical team about setup decisions that had been overruled by the Verstappen camp. You might think this was just normal team politics, but here's what they don't want you to know. The real story is far more shocking. Since Verstappen won the Spanish GP on June 23, 2025, he's only taken 4 victories from 26 races. 4 victories from a driver who had dominated the sport for years. But the most damning statistic? Red Bull's second drivers, Perez, Lawson, and Tsunoda, combined for just 48 points in that same period. The team wasn't just declining, it was in complete free fall. What happened next left everyone speechless. Adrian Newey, the aerodynamic genius behind Red Bull's success, had already announced his departure. Jonathan Wheatley followed. Rob Marshall, the man now responsible for McLaren's meteoric rise, was gone. Will Corsoon, another key technical figure, also jumped ship. But Christian Horner? He was still there, still projecting confidence, still believing he could turn it around. But there's something even more concerning. You might think this explains everything, that Horner was simply a victim of circumstances, that the talent drain and performance decline were beyond his control. The allegations of misconduct that surfaced in early 2024, he was cleared. The investigation, it found no wrongdoing. Surely you'd think this vindicated his position at Red Bull. But here's what the investigation didn't uncover. The real story is far more shocking. Sources within Red Bull are of the view that during the investigation, trust between Horner and the upper management was irreparably damaged. Not because of the allegations themselves, but because of how information was being leaked to the media. Someone was feeding stories to journalists, and the finger-pointing within Milton Keynes became toxic. What I'm about to show you will change everything. The death of Dietrich Mateschitz in 2022 had created a power vacuum that nobody talks about. The Thai ownership faction led by Chalerm Uvidya and the Austrian side were pulling in different directions. Horner, who had been Mateschitz's chosen lieutenant, suddenly found himself without his most powerful ally, and that's when the Verstappen camp saw their opportunity. You won't believe what happened next. Here's the insider knowledge that will blow your mind. According to Martin Brundle, there was no precise explanation from Red Bull's ownership about why Horner was being stripped of his duties. But I've uncovered the real reason, and it's more shocking than anyone imagined. The real story is this. Max Verstappen delivered an ultimatum to Red Bull management. It wasn't just about performance, it was about power. Jos Verstappen had been warning about this for months, saying, "There is tension here while Horner remains in this position. The team is in danger of being torn apart. It can't go on the way that it is. It will explode." But here's the most shocking part that nobody is talking about. According to the sources, during a crisis meeting at Milton Keynes headquarters, Verstappen's manager presented Red Bull with a choice: Either Horner goes or Max explores his options elsewhere, and they had a backup plan ready. Mercedes CEO Ola Kalinius had already given his team the green light to chase Verstappen. The German team was prepared to offer him whatever it took. What this really means is that Red Bull wasn't just losing a team principal, they were facing the potential loss of their four-time world champion. Helmut Marko, who had previously convinced Horner to stay when Ferrari came calling in 2022, was no longer in his corner. The political landscape had completely shifted. Sources within Ferrari, they had contacted Horner not long ago, and his response was adamant. "I don't know how to speak Italian, and I'm not going to leave Red Bull." Technically, he was right. He didn't leave. Red Bull got rid of him. Here's what nobody is talking about. This decision could destroy Red Bull's championship hopes for the next decade. Without Horner's strategic brilliance, the team that won 4 championships with Vettel and guided Verstappen to his titles with the third fastest car in 2024 is now rudderless. But the most concerning part is what happens next. Laurent Mekies, the new team principal, inherits a team in chaos. The technical department is decimated. The car development is stalled. And most critically, Max Verstappen's future remains uncertain. If Red Bull loses Max, they could be heading into a deep rebuild mode that might not see them recover for years. The real test comes at the Belgian Grand Prix, the first race without Horner. Can Mekies stabilize the ship? Can Red Bull prove to Verstappen that they made the right choice? Because if they can't, we might be witnessing the end of the Red Bull era. Here's what could happen if this continues. Scenario 1. Verstappen stays, Red Bull rebuilds around him, and Mekies proves he can fill Horner's shoes. But that's the optimistic view. Scenario 2 is far more terrifying. Verstappen joins Mercedes, Red Bull falls back to the midfield, and we watch one of F1's greatest teams crumble in real time. And there's a third scenario that nobody is considering. What if this was all orchestrated? What if Red Bull's ownership wanted Horner gone and used the Verstappen ultimatum as cover? The timing is too convenient, the explanation's too vague, something doesn't add up. This is just the beginning of what could be the most dramatic season in F1 history. Because while everyone is focused on Horner's exit, the real story is what happens next. Question 1. Will Ferrari make their move for Horner? Sources hinted Fred Vasseur is under immense pressure, and the Italian team is desperately seeking a proven winner. If Horner lands at Ferrari, leading both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, it could completely reshape the championship fight. Question 2. What does this mean for Max Verstappen's future? His manager's statement about being disappointed in Red Bull's decision suggests there's more to this story. Is Max already planning his exit? Has Mercedes made him an offer he can't refuse? Question 3. Can Laurent Mekies actually fill Horner's shoes? The man has experience, but he's inheriting a team in crisis. One wrong strategic call, one more poor performance, and the vultures will start circling. But here's the question that keeps me up at night. What if this is bigger than just Red Bull? What if we're witnessing a fundamental shift in Formula One, where driver power trumps team loyalty? Where a single ultimatum can end a 20-year partnership? The answers to these questions will determine not just the 2025 championship, but the future of Formula One itself. And I'll be tracking every development, every behind-the-scenes move, every secret meeting. So let me know in the comments, do you think Red Bull made the right choice? Is Horner's Ferrari move inevitable? And most importantly, where do you think Max Verstappen will be racing in 2026? Because this story is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. And what happens next will shock the entire F1 world. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell because the next few weeks are going to be absolutely insane. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.